Hello everyone, welcome to Mind Garbage. My name is Eric Myers. Today I want to talk to you about a video game that's coming out in a couple months? No, not a couple months. It's coming out in like a month and a half. Month and 3/4, something like that. It's called Homefront: The Revolution. Now you may be wondering, why am I talking at all about this game, and why would you be excited about that, and all that? I'm going to get into that. Truth be told, I'm not super excited about the game, but I want it to be successful. The reason why is because, the original Homefront came out in, I believe, 2011 or 12, I think it was 2011, whenever Crisis 2 came out. I remember because they came out around the same time. Homefront was a game that I feel had a lot of potential. Its presentation, like the setting and everything, was super awesome. Just from a gameplay perspective, it was very mediocre. Gunplay was very mediocre. Multiplayer had really cool ideas, but it was very easy to exploit and everything. And I played it extensively, and there was, I played through the campaign and I enjoyed it. Then hearing that this was going to come out, you think about the time frame when Homefront came out and how there was a lot of just an overwhelming amount of shooters that were very mediocre or just alright. And then Call of Duty was already becoming huge, but then Battlefield came back, and I feel like ever since then you've just been kind of alternating basically between, every year it's just, well, there's a first person shooter and it's either Call of Duty or I'm playing Battlefront or Battlefield, and then getting a Far Cry every now and then. And to me, what is interesting about Homefront and why I want it to be successful is I really dig the idea of what Homefront is and what it could be, and the fact that it's mixing Far Cry elements with this sort of rebels going up against this North Korean government, and us, and it's such an interesting perspective. You think about what it would be like for us as a country to be invaded, and just that general guerrilla warfare and guerrilla warfare tactics and whatnot. And it's exciting because I like the idea that it's such a unique and cool setting. My hope is that the game, obviously, I watched a lot of gameplay for it, and the demo stuff that I've seen for it, that vertical slices or what have you, it looks really cool. It's very unique. It reminds me a mix between Far Cry and Crisis. And I like the way that looks, mixed in with this modern setting in a city. My issue... Ow! What in the hell? Sorry, I just scratched something on my neck and it really hurt. The thing with it, though, is I remember watching alpha gameplay and it looked so stiff. And that's something I've seen for it, is that a lot of people said, this game just looks and feels very stiff. And why I want this game to be successful is because, kind of like I said, because of Call of Duty, and I have nothing against Call of Duty. I enjoy that franchise for what it is. It is a fun, just shooter, weekend shooter or whatever. And Battlefield, say what you will about Hardline, Battlefield 4 is, still played to this day by tons and tons of people. It's an excellent shooter. Now, it had a lot of issues when it came out, but now it's pretty damn good. And I think they just added DLC to it a few months ago. And Battlefront, I love because I'm a Star Wars fan, but what I'm getting at is that these are games that are this is it. And then you have a Far Cry, and it's back in the day, you had, even within Battlefield, you had the Bad Company series, which was much different than, most shooters that came around. I've always told the story that one of the reasons why I really love Bad Company is a destruction, in the fact that it was so different like that. One of my favorite stories was my friend and I playing it, and we're trading off the controller, and there's a part where you're being chased by a tank, and we're blowing, that, I gotta finish that story. We were blowing holes through this wall, and with grenades and everything, and jumping house to house while getting shot at by this tank. And I was like, this is such a cool experience, and this is so different from most of the games that we are used to playing. And today you just do not see a lot of these experimental shooters. and do different things. And Far Cry, for what it's worth, I mean, it tries, but it's kind of like, it's now gotten to that thing where it's like, every game is trying to model after it, which admittedly Homefront is doing. But what I want Homefront to do is to be able to be successful and say there's a market for games that are a little bit different, and you don't have to shoehorn competitive multiplayer and everything and give us a cool shooter. My favorite shooters that have come out this generation, the PS4 and Xbox One generation, have been the Wolfenstein games. If you have not played the Wolfenstein games, you are missing out on some incredible, awesome games. The New Order, fantastic. Old Blood, amazing. Actually, I should rearrange that, because I think the New Order is amazing. It's an amazing game. And the reason why it's so cool is because it's these are shooters that admittedly do everything that what sells, the opposite direction, basically. You look at Wolfenstein, the New Order. It's a game with regenerative health, where you can pick up any weapon that you want. I mean, not regenerative health. A game where you do not have regenerative health. You have to have health packs and armor, and then you can pick up any gun you want. There's no competitive multiplayer. It's all just single player and whatnot. And then in the Old Blood, they added challenge maps and whatnot, and I absolutely love that game. I platinumed, gotten everything I can in both those games, and I still every now and then just go back and play because they are so amazing. And the shooter genre is one of my favorites. I love that genre, that first person, just get in and shoot a bunch. And there is a space for the open world shooter. Far Cry does it, and I enjoy Far Cry, but it's getting a little stale this time. And what I would really hope that Homefront can do is really deliver on what it was. And of course I have concerns for it because, admittedly, it doesn't look like it's going to be very good. Am I going to buy it day one? Probably not. I'm probably going to wait for reviews and see how this whole thing shakes out. Is that making me part of the problem? It most likely is. But I can't really help it because, I got to make sure everything's going to be okay. But looking at it, this game really has a lot of potential. And, you look at THQ originally when they, had this series, and then, a bunch of other stuff, your Saints Rows and whatnot. I miss the mid-tier type of games that would come out, whereas now you just have big AAA tentpoles and then indies all the way through. And that's not to insult indie games. I love indie games. I play them all the time. I've been playing Hotline Miami on my Vita. I've been just going to town on that game. But there's essentially now is just, you get that, and then you get these huge big tentpoles, which we all love. But there's something about just a real good mid-tier experience, like a Homefront, that comes out and you just have a good time with it. One of my favorite games, and I would consider it a mid-tier game, is Mafia 2, which I know is not a shooter, but I am so sorry for that. My table is, now it doesn't want to creak. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. You hear nothing. You hear nothing. You hear my finger. Sorry. I'm really tired. I'm in a silly mood. But I loved Mafia 2, getting back on track. I love that game because it was like a GTA, but it did it in his own way that I felt was really awesome. And what I really want to see Homefront do, is have just this awesome story, which they have the potential to do. If you never played the original Homefront campaign, I mean, it had a lot of really cool ideas. The first beginning mission, if I remember correctly, is you essentially walking through an occupied America, and just you see a cinematic of everything that led up to this point, and how Korea invaded the U.S., and just walking through checkpoints and just seeing how desolate it is. I want them to recreate that feeling. And they have the potential to do that. They are sitting on a gold mine of a game that admittedly seems like it's gone through a lot of developers' hands, where I'm sure Chaos probably did some pre-production on it. I assume. I'm gonna have to figure. And then it went to Crytek. Crytek got in trouble with not paying people, because apparently that's totally acceptable to do. And I'm saying that as a big Crytek fan. And then it's going to this new studio, and it's going through a lot of hands. And so the reason, like I said, reiterating again, and I'm sorry, the reason why I want this game to be more successful and hopefully ends up being good, is because I want to see these kind of games come back. Games that you can put in a good amount of effort and just have like a fun time with and enjoy it. And do something just a little bit different, especially in the first-person shooter genre. There have been very, very, very few first-person shooters. I could probably count on both hands the ones that have come out, to my knowledge, where you have Call of Duty Ghosts, Battlefield 4, Battlefield Hardline, Battlefront, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, Wolfenstein, both Wolfensteins, and then, I don't know, Far Cry 4. I mean, really, that's pretty much about it, and that's insane to me that we're like 3 years into the generation. There's not just a deluge of shooters. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to rant on that a little bit. Thank you for watching. If you want, you can follow me on Twitter that's the next one. I'm sorry. You can follow me on Twitter at EricMyers93. You can follow this channel on Twitter at 3_beersin. And keep up with me on my personal one to see all my little shenanigans that I tweet about and get into. Man, you'll have a good time. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys this Friday.